Hey, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome one and all. Welcome to Sunday Live. I am your host for today, Mike, the Fantasy Hitman, Wright from the Fantasy Footballers podcast. I guess we have some things to talk about today on this Sunday, week 5, heading into yet another rambunctious week of fantasy football. Let's get right into the big news of the day. Julio Jones is out. Hey, Brooksy, remember when that was like the big news? Like,
yeah.
if we came into week 5 and we're like, Julio Jones is out, and we're like running around the streets with like our hair is on fire because Julio Jones is out. You know who else is out? The Broncos and the Patriots. They're out. All right, so let's get into it. COVID, we knew COVID was going to affect this year of fantasy football. We absolutely knew that. And the question was, how do we handle that as commissioners, as fantasy managers, as fantasy players? What are we going to do to minimize the effect of COVID? And I thought we had a pretty good plan in place on the fantasy footballers. We were talking about the strategy of, look, COVID sucks. It can eat a bag. I think I speak for the world when I say that. And we were saying, okay, well, let's maximize the IR. If someone contracts COVID, like Cam Newton, you have an extra spot because this is a variable that we are not used to dealing with. The world is not used to dealing with, and kind of move on from there, evaluate from there. What we weren't anticipating is these teams suddenly having their games moved all over the place. In the case of the Tennessee Titans, maybe 2 weeks without them. What does all of that look like? All of a sudden, that's a huge problem. And we were kind of talking about on the show of, if you can't do anything to your league right now, perhaps earmarking players and being allowed to drop them to the waiver. They're earmarked still for your team because you have to sign a replacement player. This is definitely a break glass in case of emergency. We have been having a giant discussion in our league of record going back and forth, and it appears that we are going to add on to our bench to try and minimize this situation from happening. We are a 5-bench league. We're going to go to 6 now. Retroactively, man, that if you want to dive into that, more power to you. I think that's we've all had to deal with things that suck, and a lot of us have been left holding the bag. Like the Denver Broncos. If you follow Melvin Gordon on Twitter this morning, he definitely feels like he has been left holding the bag. But here we are. It's 2020, my man. It's the year of COVID. We're all dealing with it. So, my goodness, 2020's got my throat right now. So, get Patriots and Broncos out of your starting lineup. They are not going to play. The Bills and the Titans are currently scheduled to play on TuesdayNightFootball.com. They did have one of their staff members test positive this morning, so contract tracing is going on. There is hope that that will not affect anything and that the game will still happen. The advice that we went with last week for the Bills game was simply nominate who your backup player is, and then in the event of a last-second cancellation, that backup player, those are the points that you're going to get instead of your Titan, instead of your Bills player who was going to go. This stinks, but here we are. This is a fantasy football season that everyone is going to remember down the road. You played in 2020. We will make it together, ladies and gentlemen. Push it forward, staying strong. All right, so that's the big picture. Look, as far as injuries, let's look at the bright side. Let's look at the glass half full here. Aside from Julio Jones, there's really no notable players who are actually out. Rookie Bryan Edwards from the Las Vegas Raiders, he's out. He was kind of an inconsequential fantasy player anyways. Djax and Alshon Jeffrey are out yet again for the Philadelphia Eagles. that really only matters for Carson Wentz and maybe Zach Ertz, the shadow of Zach Ertz. We'll see if he can get it done this week. And Brashad Perryman for the Jets is out. He doesn't get to strap on and catch the bazooka-armed Joe Flacco for the New York Jets because Sam Darnold is out, and Joe Flacco will be starting for the Jets against the Arizona Cardinals. That's the big news. I mean, let's see. Jared Cook for the New Orleans Saints. He is questionable. Looks like he's going to play. Same thing could be said for Michael Thomas. It looks like he's going to play. A reminder, the Saints do have a bye week next week. So you're playing with some fire there if you're going to go all in on Michael Thomas. I went all in on Devontae Adams playing last Monday, and that stung because I pivoted to Demarcus Robinson, who gave me a very robust 0 points. So you want to play with those matches? That's up to you. All right, just be ready to pivot in case of emergency. Now I'm going to throw it to the producer extraordinaire, Brooks Judge Giamatti. On the fantasyfootballers.com, we have a start-sit tool. Uses our rankings. You can go plug your players in, and we'll let you know who we would be starting based off of a bunch of different variables. And if you are a proud Foot Clan supporter of this independent podcast, that is at jointhefoot.com. Number one. What's up, you beautiful people? I see you. I see you supporting the show. We appreciate you. That expands the start-sit player to, ba-bam, 4. You can put 4 guys in there. We will tell you which one we will start. But part of that is we get some trending data. We get to see which players are the big questions of the week. Big questions. So, Brooks, what players are the big questions this week?
A lot of people asking about this guy coming back.
Oh, gosh. For whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. LeVeon Bell, New York Jets superstar running back. Adam Gase, number 2, his favorite player on the team. The guy absolutely worth all of that money. Adam Gase loves LeVeon Bell. All right. The Arizona Cardinals' run defense is kind of stinky right now. Little outcast PU style there. I would be willing to play him. He is coming off the hamstring injury. He didn't really practice this week. This is kind of off the IR right into the action here. But I mean, whatever, minimal practice stuff.
All right, Mike. How about Lev Bell or McKinnon?
Okay, Le'Veon Bell or McKinnon. What I was going to say is I'm going to play Lev Bell. If I have him, the running back situation here is dire in 2020. We would expect nothing else to go happen in this year. So Le'Veon Bell, Jerick McKinnon, Raheem Mostert, the starting running back for the San Francisco 49ers. He is expected back. It is an afternoon game, so you cannot say for sure right now. We do not have official active-inactive reports from those games. I think he's going to play. It looks like Jimmy GQ is going to play as well. So Jerick McKinnon is still he's my start of the week because even though Mostert is back, look, he's just coming back. You got Jerick McKinnon. He's a dude who absolutely can get it done, and they have shown that they will go to him. Man, that is a really tough call. I lean Jerick McKinnon here by a fraction against the Miami Dolphins. Right now, currently, Jerick McKinnon is sitting at 17 for me. Le'Veon Bell at 22 now, and that's a bit of a rank disparity that I'm willing to go with Jerick McKinnon. Do they have any more Le'Veon Bell questions, Brooks?
Bell or Joshua Kelley versus Saints.
Okay. All right. That one is much more difficult to break down. Joshua Kelley. So the Los Angeles Chargers, this is our first step into the world without Austin Eckler. What is that split going to be between Joshua Kelley and Justin Jackson for the Los Angeles Chargers? We have seen that team when everybody's hurt. They have gone to Justin Jackson, and he has been basically a bell cow for the team, and he's had success. It's only been a handful of games that has actually happened. Now, and you're saying, well, Joshua Kelley's been playing ahead of him. Justin Jackson's been hurt for the majority of the season, so we don't actually know that Justin Jackson is, in fact, behind Joshua Kelley. I think he is, and I'm going to project it that way. So I will still project Joshua Kelley as the leader of the timeshare. Saints isn't really my favorite matchup. Joshua Kelley's ringing here. Speaking of bells, he's ringing in at 24 on my rankings. LeVeon Bell is at 22, so I do have Bell just in front of him. Do we have any other real trending players, Brooks, that people are having a problem with?
Antonio Gibson.
Oh, what? There's a problem with Antonio Gibson?
I'll hit you with a few.
What are you doing? You play him.
Number 1, Gibson or Kenyon Drake?
Okay. I see what the problem is. Oh, goodness gracious. All right. So Kenyon Drake, this is the week, man. Honestly, it feels like something will shift this week. That's been the feeling in Arizona. We don't know which way it's going to go. We do not know if they're going to finally get Kenyon Drake back in the passing game. We don't know if they're going to say Chase Edmonds, we're going to 50-50 this bad boy. Antonio Gibson against the Rams. Like the Rams, they're a good defense. But if they have a little bit of a weakness, it is in the running game. So I expect Antonio Gibson that he's going to have himself a fine day. On top of that, the switch to Keenan Allen, we have seen his tendency is he's willing to check it down. That was Christian McCaffrey. That anyone checks down to Christian McCaffrey. Cam Newton never checked down until he had Christian McCaffrey. But Antonio Gibson is a special player, especially in the passing game. I am going to play Antonio Gibson over Kenyon Drake this week. Now, that doesn't mean I am not benching Kenyon Drake by any stretch of the imagination. I still want to play him this week against the Jets. Very positive matchup, very plus matchup here for Kenyon Drake. But I like Antonio Gibson. The two guys, it's probably a little bit too late to go wheel and deal on the trades, but I had said on the podcast, this was your last chance to trade for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's about to go off against the Raiders. And Antonio Gibson, if you were able to trade for Antonio Gibson, I think that window is about to slam shut. What else you got for me, Brooks?
I think you're good to answer some questions.
All right.
The top questions are all a mix of Gibson, McKinnon, Bell, Kelley. Yeah, so.
Well, then there you have it. I'm playing Antonio Gibson with full confidence. I'm still playing Kenyon Drake. Let me give you an example of so right now I have Kenyon Drake ranked above Miles Sanders. That is a pretty bold call considering Miles Sanders is a 3-down running back. I just hate the matchup for Miles against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have let's see. I think that's like the most notable name brand player that I have Kenyon Drake ranked over. All right. Here we go. Oh, like this from Luke. Luke wants to know Antonio Gibson or Miles Sanders. I would be playing Antonio Gibson. Next question comes in from Joshua. Keenan Allen or Miles Sanders rest of season in PPR. All right, so the PPR thing it makes it at least interesting here for Keenan Allen. But this is a 3-down running back. I just elaborated a little bit. I don't love Miles Sanders this week. I'm still playing him. If you have Antonio Gibson, fine. I'm playing him over Miles Sanders. But you probably don't have the depth at running back that you're playing somebody over Miles Sanders. It's the 3-down running back, man. Once Miles Sanders really hits his stride, he is just so much more valuable than Keenan Allen. Allen is great. He has been unlocked here with Justin Herbert giving him the targets that he deserves. And look, Keenan Allen, I get it. He's mad, man. He jumped on with those guys with a good friend of the show, Matt Harmon, or I apologize, Adam Lefkoe was talking with Keenan Allen, and they were giving the Madden guys the business, trying to get Keenan Allen's ratings up. So I'm going to take Miles Sanders there. All right, this week, though, we got I missed the name, but the question was T.Y. Hilton, the newly retired T.Y. Hilton, or Russell Gage. Okay, Russell Gage is my answer here. T.Y. Hilton will remain in retirement henceforth until he shows me he is actually able to have any type of fantasy life, any type of fantasy performance with a quarterback not named Andrew Luck. Meanwhile, Russell Gage, Calvin Ridley, Zacchaeus, the wee little man was he, their stock goes up, man. Julio Jones is out. Matt Ryan's got to throw that ball somewhere. And speaking of Matt Ryan, because people are going to want to know Matt Ryan in Carolina, I would try and pivot if I could. I've lived that life of Matt Ryan without Julio Jones too many times. Not saying it's impossible for Matt Ryan to have himself a day, but I've gotten that shin kick quite a few times with Matt Ryan when he doesn't have Julio Jones on his team. All right. This next question is from Patrick Foxworth. Whoa. Patrick Foxworth. My man coming in with a strong name. Teddy Bridgewater or Big Ben? This is Teddy Bridgewater for me. I get that is a I understand your question, I should say, of Teddy Bridgewater, not a huge proven track record, is a streaming quarterback. You just got him off of the waiver wire. Big Ben, known quarterback, probably going to be in the Hall of Fame quarterback, surrounded by weapons. But I'm going to play Teddy Bridgewater against the Carolina Panthers here. I expect big things. I'm taking Teddy Bridgewater against the Atlanta Falcons. Maybe Teddy Bridgewater is going to play his own team. We hope that's not the case because that's usually negative fantasy points. Next question, Tyler. Ooh, Tyler, this question is rough here. Justin Jefferson or Antonio Gibson in a PPR flex? All right, Justin Jefferson gets to take on the Seattle Seahawks. I've heard there's going to be little drizzles, a little bit of drizzlies up there in Seattle. I'm not sure when there's not. I've heard it's very rainy in Seattle. I don't know if have you heard this, Brooks? You heard about this? Seattle, it rains a lot.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, it's just drizzles for shizzles. Okay, Justin Jefferson or Antonio Gibson. Man, I don't know how you bench Justin Jefferson right now. It's in a PPR. He is heating up. Kirk Cousins is going to have to throw the ball. The Seattle Seahawks against that Minnesota Vikings defense, they're going to score points. Oh, gosh. I don't like the idea of benching Antonio Gibson against the Rams, but Justin Jefferson, whoo-wee, man. I'm playing him. I'm going for that upside here. All right, lemon juice, Yanni or Laurel. I don't even remember which one I heard, but thank you for the throwback. All right, Michael wants to know, Hollywood, Michael Matthias? It's one of those two. Hollywood Brown or Jamison Crowder in a full PPR. Jamison Crowder is going right to the bench, my friend, for Hollywood Brown. This has the perfect storm makeup for Hollywood Brown to actually break out. We almost had it last week. We were just a knee down, 1 yard too short to a real Hollywood Brown breakout. Meanwhile, Jamison Crowder should be the top passing option for the New York Jets, but this is Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, his tendencies as he targets the tight end. Does that mean I'm playing Chris Herndon? No, because I like myself, and I'm a self-respecting human being of this earth, so I will not be playing you, Chris Herndon. I don't care what you do this week, but we don't know what Joe Flacco is going to do in this game. Joe Flacco hasn't played football in about a year now, or he hasn't started, I should say. Since the Denver Broncos, he got hurt. He lost his job. He's now back up on the Jets. I don't know what's going to happen with the passing weapons, so if I have to play Jamison Crowder, I have to play Jamison Crowder. That's fine. I'm tough. I'm a man. I can handle it if I have to, but I don't want to. It's like vegetables. I don't want to eat them. They're gross. But you got Hollywood Brown, man. Come on, Hollywood Brown. Let's get after it. This is the week. Let's cross those fingers for Hollywood Brown. Next question. Ooh, this next question comes in from Jacob. Drew Brees or Joe Burrow? All right. So Joe Burrow gets to take on Baltimore. I think the last I saw, the Baltimore Ravens were favored by over 13 points. That's called a negative game script for Mr. Joe Burrow. That's called Joe Burrow's going to have to throw the ball a ton. That's desperate. That is a desperate man. That's a desperate play. I'm going to take Drew Brees against the Chargers. He's got Alvin Kamara. He might have Michael Thomas back, but even if Michael Thomas is limited, Tre'Quan Smith has been doing enough in the passing game that Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara and Tre'Quan, they are getting it done. This next question comes in from Thiago Gigantor or Eric Ebron. Do we got Gigantor in here somewhere, Brooks? I don't know. I don't know if we do or not. I'm new to this board. Brooks will find it. Gigantor or Eric Ebron. I'm going with Eric Ebron, man. He is actually on the field. I love Gigantor. I love him so much. You know that I do. But now there's 3 tight ends on the Colts who can all get it done. You got Baby Hands Jack Doyle. We got Gigantor, Mo Alley Cox. We got Trey Burton. You remember Trey Boo Boo, Brooks? Little blast from the past.
Yeah, I remember.
Trey Boo Boo. I've never seen Brooks look so disappointed.
I think we've all wanted to forget about that experience.
Well, come on, Trey Boo Boo. Picnic basket. Look, I don't think I've ever dealt with a 3-person timeshare at the tight end position. That is wild. Eric Ebron's my start of the week. I love the matchup for him. He's been getting more involved when they were actually playing football in those first 3 weeks. You got to go with Eric Ebron in that situation. Next question. Wazzle Jostle, Le'Veon Bell, or Kenyon Drake? I'm playing Kenyon Drake over Lev Bell. That is gross. That is gross. All right, Josh wants to know, Derrick Henry or Antonio Gibson? All right. Now, if your league has gone with the decision that they are not going to allow substitute players, then you have to play Antonio Gibson. I think the game is going to happen. That's where the feeling. I wish I could check in with Ian Rappaport and get his opinion on if this game was going to happen or not. But apparently he's not allowed to talk for a while. You got to free my man Ian Rappaport. You got he's out there hustling. He's trying to tell people about Manscaped, the delightful product. Look, by Manscaped is sensational. Brooks, what's our code?
Footballers.
Yeah, footballers at checkout. But I wish I could. Anyway, so my point is, you can't play Derrick Henry. Antonio Gibson is a great option. You have to play Antonio Gibson over Derrick Henry if they aren't going to allow you to make that last-second change. And speaking of sponsors, the sponsor of this Sunday Live, as you know, the beautiful people at Pristine Auction, the best sports memorabilia site of all time. We got look, our producers are not just good at their jobs, at producing and all of the ones and the twos and the switches. Our fellas back there, they just, with the kindness of their hearts, this is not a joke, they got us a present. They got a signed Arizona Cardinals DeAndre Hopkins jersey. It is up on the wall. It is so red. It is so proud and red in Arizona, and it is delightful. And they were able to get that authentic signature because they went to pristineauction.com and they use the code BALLERS when they make their completely free account because it gives you $10 off of your first purchase. All right, a couple more quick questions, and then I got to get out of here. Just remember, people, deep breaths. We can make it through this week 5 hullabaloo and all of that stuff. We're gonna figure it out. All right. Austin Hester. Now Austin Hester, I like it. He says Josh Allen or Teddy Bridgewater, no replacement. Then you got to play Teddy Bridgewater, man. Luckily enough, Teddy Bridgewater, I think, is in a very good spot here to really help your team out. I would rather play Josh Allen. As much as I have professed my love for Teddy Bridgewater this week, if the game were happening against the Titans, I would be playing Josh Allen. Don't get me wrong. But if I Brooks, you scared the crap out of me, dude. That was woo! Wake up. It's Sunday morning. Excellent. Josh Stallion, by the way. If you can't replace, you got to err on the side of caution for that one. Next question. Noah, same thing. Derrick Henry or Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley, if you cannot replace, my friend. That's the unfortunate situation we are in Week 5. Here we go. Levi. DJ Chark, or Juju Smith-Schuster. I am going to go with DJ Chark. This game of the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Houston Texans versus the Houston Texans. This game is super sneaky, super duper sneaky, man. The on the Jaguar side, they lost. I believe they're not going to have Josh Allen. They're not going to have Miles Jack. Like David Johnson here for Houston, after they've all been set free from the tyranny of Bill O'Brien. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. I know it's divisional, but I'm very interested in getting pieces in from this game, and that includes DJ Chark. Juju is a fine play. He has been living those first 3 weeks off of touchdown production. Deontay Johnson is the number 1 wide receiver, which is, I think it's actually good for Juju. I don't think Juju can be a number 1, but he could be a great 1B. So it's lucky for him that he has Deontay Johnson.
And Chark was wide receiver 3 last week.
And Chark was the wide receiver 3 last week. DJ Chark is great. But I was saying, like, I really think there's going to be points put up in this game. So I want in on that action, man. I want in. I'm not just going to stay on the sidelines on that one. All right, this last question comes from, I'm going as random as I possibly can here. Madison wants to know Scary Terry, CeeDee Lamb, or DJ Chark. So Terry McLaurin from Washington, CeeDee Lamb from Dallas, DJ Chark, Jacksonville. It's DJ Chark. That is brutal, though, Madison. You may want to try and make a 2-for-1 trade here and upgrade a starting position moving forward, because having the depth of Terry McLaurin and CeeDee Lamb on your bench, whew, that's hot. That's very nice. That's a very good position to be in. But I would be playing DJ Chark this week. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me for Sunday Live. We can do it. We can do this together. Let's be kind to each other. Let's have some grace and some patience with one another, because this is ridiculous what we are dealing with, but we will make it through. Mike the Fantasy Hitman Wright from the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. I wish you the best of luck. I wish your enemies the worst of luck. I will see you tomorrow on the podcast. And remember, keep it beautiful.